I noticed a debate a little while ago about who is better, Tom Brady or Derek Carr. The argument was made for Tom Brady's first 3 years, full years, in 2001 through 2003, compared to Derek Carr. Derek Carr has better stats than him. But my argument is Tom Brady was drafted in 2000. He went to a team that I believe went 5-11. The year before that, they went 8-8. Well, no, I think they went 5-11 his first year, and they were 8-8 the year before. I can't remember now. But anyway, in his second year, they went 11-5. In other words, Tom Brady went to a team that was just a couple years removed from going, I think, 9-7. I saw a record of 9-7. In other words, there was somewhere up there in the standings. The Raiders. Derek Carr went to a team that was 4-12. That's the reason why they were able to select him in the second round early. And the year before, I don't know if it was the year before that, they went, I think, 4-12 too. And then the year before that was 8-8. But the year of his draft, his first year, they went 3-13. Well, they should have beat the Patriots. It would have been how Derek Carr wins games like last year. They were going to go for 2 points. And I tell you, the Patriots wouldn't have scored on that last drive. One of the last drives. You could just look it up. You'll just see Mac getting held the whole time. I mean, just the guy's got like him in an arm bar. And it was on a very important play. They would have had a punt right there. But anyway, I started looking into it and like, what happened to the Patriots that year? I started looking at their draft. I only can remember 2 of their players. One of them was an offensive lineman. I don't know if he's still playing, but he was a big part of their offensive line for a while, I believe. Can't remember his name right now. They also drafted Richard Seymour that year. And they just happened to have the third best defense in football that year. And they were mediocre the year before. So, my point of this video, why I'm on the Raiders page, is because there's all this talk about like, okay, well, now that free agency settled down, we know who all the starters are. You don't know anything like that. All these writers, they just keep on, especially the NFL.com, they'll take one article and they'll change the title like 10 times to make it seem like they're creating new content because they're pretty pathetic. And so nothing is settled. Nothing is settled. The rosters are huge right now. Doesn't give a number, but that's there's a lot of people on this list. And there's a lot of positions. We can look at depth chart first, maybe. We're going to go to defense. There's more to talk about on the defense side. Now, there's reports Mario Edwards Jr. Why does it say it like that? Mario Edwards is in great shape. He says he's 280 pounds. I don't know about that. But, okay, that's something to look forward to, something good. The Raiders have problems on the defensive tackle side of the part of the line. And they brought a guy in the third round in Vanderdos for a reason. He's there to stop the run, disrupt the middle of the line, so Mack and Irvin can get at the quarterback. I mean, that's what he has been brought in for. They did not waste a third-round pick on this guy just to have him shelve him. They like to rotate the DTs anyway. So he will be part of this package. There's other guys. I don't think it's going to... A lot of this is has not been updated. Treywook, isn't he gone? I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure he's gone. I think he went to the Titans or something. But so much for depth chart. But there are some other areas here that I can remember who's still on the team. Reggie Nelson, for example. He's 34 years old this year. He's getting a little long in the tooth. And they brought in Obi-Wan Rader. Obi-Wan Rader has been brought in eventually to take over this position. Now, I'm not saying he's going to beat Reggie Nelson out, but it's going to be an intriguing part of the camp battles. Remember, the rookies and the regulars have not interacted with each other yet on the field. Yeah, Malcolm Smith is gone. I mean, who runs this site? Oh, January 3rd. January 3rd. Might as well go back to the other page. I mostly wanted to go to this page because of certain positions. For example, cornerback. They gave up a lot of big plays. Now, I understand a lot of it comes from the defensive line not getting enough pressure on the quarterback. But they're not getting any sort of pressure. I mean, any coverage as well. I mean, yeah, it would have been great if, like in the New Orleans game, when Sean Smith gave up a 98-yard touchdown, if they had more pressure, maybe that didn't happen. Maybe it got busted up. Maybe he underthrew the ball or something like that and was picked off. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. This is just simple. Football's not that complex. It's very fast, and you're trying to get as much pressure on the quarterback, stop the run at the same time as covering. You can't cover forever. And so who knows how good Sean Smith is, really. I mean, with no pressure on the quarterback, really. They're one of the worst in the league at getting up the quarterback. I mean, I think they had 25 sacks, and most of them were Mack and Irvin. I know, I forget the guy who left. He had 3. And is it Stacy McGee who left? Causa, I know, had 1. But they've brought in guys like Gary and Conley, was selected very high up in the draft. Many GMs thought he would have went lower because of the rape allegations. And let's see, they also have a guy, an undrafted free agent, who is a cornerback. His name is Borders. Right there. He's from Duke. 6 foot, 189 pounds. He's very fast, and there's been indications that he looked very good in the rookie minicamp. Long way to go. Middle linebacker is the other issue. There was a guy cut by the Washington Redskins the other day after he was reinstated before Aldon Smith. Darrell Washington. No. The Cardinals only indicated that was a lack of trust or something. So they don't trust him. I would have thought that they would have been looking at his condition. He hasn't played like in 4 years. That's a problem. But this is a long list. They brought some guys in, and certain people like Seth Roberts. If I can get back on his face. He might have to look over his shoulder a bit. Because they brought this guy in right here, who dropped down in the draft. Zamora Ishmael. He dropped down because he was on video beating his dog. He's 6'3", 224 pounds. Seth Roberts is very similar, but he dropped a lot of passes. Both of them are or were undrafted free agents. What's another one that's standing out? Trust me, I don't know who all these free agents are. I've heard of some of them. Even some of the draftees I'm really not too familiar with. Who is? Yeah, going to the offensive side of the ball. I mean, this guy was brought in. He was on the Giants before. And he may challenge Austin Howard. And there's also a bunch of rookies that could possibly challenge them. And even Donald Penn. Come on, he missed his first game in quite a while at the end of the season, and he also got Derek Carr killed. So it can all come to an end very quickly. You have to be prepared. You cannot sit there and say, oh, yeah, offensive line. Second best in football. Second best. I don't even know what that means. They're not the best run blocking team. They're a better pass blocking team. It's mostly because Derek Carr gets rid of the ball extremely fast. I don't think people should overrate him. Yes, they beat up the Denver Broncos. On that nationally televised game. But they couldn't do it in the last part of the season. I mean, I didn't even know what the game plan was. They had McGloin out there throwing the ball. They should have been running the ball. They might have got a bye. Oh yeah, I don't even know what the game plan is. I would have went in there with heavy formations and just ran it down the Broncos' throat. Looking through the names, see if anyone... Lee Markel, they brought him in, linebacker. But you really think they're going to start a rookie linebacker in the middle? I'm not so sure. And you saw at the bottom of the page, Perry Riley is the sole holdout, unrestricted free agent. He hasn't signed with anyone, though. Like I said, there's also that guy, Darrell Washington. There's another guy, Hodgin or something. I can't remember his name. Those are veterans that they could possibly bring in. There could be some tight end battles. You got two tight ends on the Raiders roster. I get him, Gabe Holmes. When was the last time we heard about him? I've never heard of Cooper Helfet. They brought in a guy, parents named him Pharaoh. I can't see you. I think a name like Pharaoh would just stand out like a sore thumb. I just saw it. There it is. Pharaoh Brown. Because remember, they lost Rivera. They did bring in, what's his name? Cook. The whole thing about this is these undrafted free agents and also the draftees is sometimes it's just that one piece of the puzzle that turns your team into from a mediocre team to a championship team. Charles Woodson was drafted, what? Wasn't he drafted in 2001 or 2000? No, 99. It turned the, I think it was 99. It's 99 or 2000. All of a sudden the Raiders got better because they couldn't stop the run that year. They also were on paper a little deceiving. I think Jeff George was the quarterback and they went like 4-12. Yeah, they went 4-12. But the other problem is they couldn't kick a field goal. They couldn't kick extra points. I mean, they just were bad. I think they had a long snapper that may have retired then, but they had lots of problems on special teams and definitely coverage, and they brought him in, and it changed everything. All of a sudden, because everyone loved to pick on Jeff George, saying he sucked so much. He had really good stats that year. I think he had like 28 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. But whatever, I mean, sometimes it's just one player. Like I said, the Patriots were like 5-11 Tom Brady's first year. And the second year, they bring in Richard Seymour and some other people. And all of a sudden, third best defense in the league. And next thing you know, it's a snowball. Really. The snowball. And who can forget it? But they brought in people like Seymour, and maybe who the Raiders bring in this year is going to seal the deal. Just think of the teams, the Raiders, that really threaten the Raiders. Really threaten them. The Kansas City Chiefs, Pittsburgh Steelers, New England Patriots, and the AFC. Those are the main teams that are going to threaten them. They have to play at least 3 games against them. They get to the playoffs, more. And so they brought in Obi-Wan Raider to cover tight ends. They brought in Garyon Conley, assuming he's going to beat the rap. They brought him to cover people like the guy the Patriots traded for. They traded the number 1 pick for. The guy, I can't remember his name. The guy that was on New Orleans that scored the 98-yard touchdown run against Sean Smith. He scored the 98-yard touchdown run against the entire Raiders. Another guy I wanted to see, I've said before, Anthony, I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name again. Anthony, it's either Chofie or Chaffee. Pick one or the other. This guy's got incredible speed. The Raiders lost a lot on special teams. I hope they bring this guy in. He's got incredible speed. Could be very helpful on special teams. But you just add these pieces and you get over the hump. We saw it last year, but Raiders look much better than the year before. Now it's time to take the next step, but these players have to earn earn the job in training camp, preseason. It's a long ways off. Won't hear about these people for, was it the end of July? Yeah. Have a happy summer. We're talking about football in May. In May. But, yes, enjoy the summer. And just get ready. Because I see some of these draft picks are going to really help the Raiders next year. There's going to be some tough cuts, too. But the Raiders need to evolve. Remember, their team is still sort of connected with that 2014 team that was devoid of talent, where they had lots of other people's leftovers. Still kind of have that. They don't have an established middle linebacker, really. They started the season with Ben Heaney. He soon lost his job. Then he got injured. They went with, what's his name? Just went by it. James Corey. Really wasn't getting it done. They just let Malcolm Smith go. He wasn't getting it done enough. Now they gotta get some other people to improve upon that. So this is gonna be a real interesting camp. I'm just looking at all these positions. There's a lot of positions up for grabs, I think. Even quarterback. Not Carr, but who's going to be his backup? And Connor Cook. You know, he talked the show before the playoff game, but he didn't back it up. That was a hard team to run on, and I can't even think back to what I didn't like about that game. I think I wanted them to do more spread the ball around, spread it out. That's how you combat those type of defenses, I think. But no, I saw the veteran camp, mini camp, and I saw EJ Emmanuel, who's brought in to be Derek Carr's backup, and I saw Connor Cook throw the ball. Connor Cook has a good throwing motion. It's way better than EJ Emmanuel's. It's much faster. It's much more precise. It's more like Derek Carr's. He's an extremely accurate thrower, I think, once he gets used to, playing and not starting his first game in the playoffs. But that's just another position. But there's so many positions. There's going to be so many fights. I think there's actually going to be fights. Like the Raiders used to do in training camp. Fights. Yes. And maybe they'll duct tape, what's his name? Mark Davis again. There's definitely going to be some contests. And these contests will be healthy contests because they're going to decide how far the Raiders are going to go. Because right now, they're not settled. It's not a complete roster. They have to get better. They have a lot of young players. You just look at the number column here. A lot of young players. I know a lot of these undrafted free agents, you're seeing that, but there's still a lot of 2s and 3s. So they're still evolving. But there you have it. Let the games commence.